So here we are again on part 2 of making our steampunk gas mask, and in this video we will be wiring and installing the lights, the LED lights. So I decided on a kind of blue purpley colour LED. Tried out a few LEDs. I was going to go for green, but I didn't have any green LEDs, but I quite like the kind of ultraviolet effect LEDs. So I was testing the LEDs with a 3-volt battery before we get started to make sure our components are working. And we'll also need a 9-volt battery with a 2-terminal thingamajigs on the top, a switch, and in this case the switch has 3 terminals, but you'll only need 2. But as long as you use the middle terminal, then you can use any of the other 2 terminals. I tend to use the middle terminal to go straight to the live positive side of the battery, and when the switch is switched on to the on position, that'll go through the other terminals, whichever terminal you choose to power up the LED lights. So I'm just kind of cleaning up the mask at the moment and just filing out the grill at the front of the mask there, so we can get some light shining through those holes, because we're putting LED in the behind that grill part. So I've got the helping hands there, we've got our cable, wire. So I'm using red and black, red for positive, black for negative. Cutting off appropriate length wire for our project. So we got 6 LEDs in total, and they will be wired in series, 3 LEDs in series. Sorry, in a parallel circuit from the battery, so you'll have one set of LEDs in a line of series, 3 LEDs, and 2 sets of 3 LEDs wired in parallel, if that makes any sense. I don't think I'm explaining myself very well there. So I'm just tinning up the cable ends there, or wire ends, and also tinning up the LEDs, and applying our wire to the LEDs, and then we'll put some heat shrink protection stuff over the top of the pins to avoid any short circuiting, and making our circuits a little bit tidier as well at the same time. Yeah, so back to the wiring diagram. So we got 6 LEDs with 2 groups of 3. You can see in the wiring diagram there, so they're wired in parallel, and 3 in separate series wiring configuration. Hope I'm not confusing anybody there. I think I'm confusing myself, but it's relatively simple, as you can see by the wiring diagram at the top. So we've got the battery going into the switch, and then running into the 2 sets of 3 LEDs, which makes up 6 LEDs. I'm waffling on a bit here. So anyway, on the video we're wiring up our LEDs. We want 6 with those tails, as you can see, protected with the heat shrink, which I'm putting on there. And then we'll situate those LEDs into our mask, and as you will see as the video goes through, there's an LED in each of the what do you call them, the filter parts of the mask. We'll situate an LED behind the grill of the mask. Oh yeah, with a heat shrink, I'm using a lighter there just to shrink that around the cables, being careful not to burn your components and melt your wires and all that type of thing. And testing the LEDs as we go through with a 3-volt battery. Don't test them out with a 9-volt battery, because you'll blow the LED. So when you got 3 LEDs working from the 9-volt battery, that's balanced out as not to burn out the LEDs so the current running through, the voltage and current running through the group of 3 LEDs won't blow the LED. But it will blow one LED on its own if you apply that to the 9-volt battery. So use 3-volt LEDs to test your individual LEDs. So now I'm using a hot glue gun just to situate the LEDs in place. A bit rough and ready. What I should have done really was perhaps drill some holes and situated them in there a little bit more professionally. But this will be okay. This mask's going to be used for a video. So just as long as it lasts for that, then we're happy. But I might come back to the mask and perhaps redo and rewire and install the LEDs just so they're a little bit more secure. They seem to work okay with the hot glue gun. Bit budget and scarper, but it worked. So we got those 2 filters done with the LEDs installed. So now just testing out the light behind that grill and the mask, and we'll hot glue gun that into place. And I also use some hot glue to go around the grill to kind of act as a diffuser and to displace more light from the LED, and hoping that that would spread some more light through the grill for our final result and effect, with the light spreading through our makeshift diffuser. So testing our lights as we go. So it works out a 9-volt battery will power these lights for around about 14, just under 14 hours continuous, if that was to be switched on continuously. So I think that's ample. So just gluing the lights where I want them to be situated. So I want to situate some inside behind the mask lenses to kind of give that glowing effect behind the metallic effect lenses. And you can see how to do that in part 1. We just use some sort of metallic sticky stuff to give that effect. And testing our lights as we go. With the battery, I glued the battery just behind the forehead. I was looking for a battery holder so it would be easy to change the battery if you wanted to, but I couldn't find one. Well, I did find one after I'd actually finished wiring the mask, but that would be better to use instead of gluing the battery straight to the mask like I'm doing there. But whether the battery, when I'm going to change it, if I get around to changing the battery when it runs out on this mask, if I use it for that long, then I'll put in a battery holder to make it easy to change the battery. So in this case, I'm just using one of those, as you can see, like the spade type thing, just to fit on top of the terminals of the battery. So just doing a bit of a belt and braces with the glue around the battery. Just getting those wires in place. Might be a bit hard to follow this video, so I might do a separate video on just wiring 6 LED lights to a 9-volt battery, so you just sit down and go into more detail with the wiring process. But like I say, it's relatively straightforward. There's a couple of other videos on the channel with just basic single LEDs with 3-volt batteries, but the principle's the same. You just got to know what your components are pulling and what's appropriate to your battery size, as not to blow your components. In some cases you might need resistors, depending on what your project is. So yeah, wiring the LEDs. So with the tails, obviously we've got our black and red there, but we go from the battery into the switch, into one LED, out of that LED, into the next LED, out of that LED, into the last LED on the series of 3, and that last tail goes back to the negative of the battery, and that's on both sets of those 3 LED sets. Put some tin foil in there as well, just to kind of shield your eyes when you're wearing the mask from those internal LEDs, plus to kind of reflect the light back out also, so maximizing the light which is emitted from those LEDs. So there we are, job done. So I was quite pleased with the end result. So just trying it on there. And job done. So that's the end of this part 2 series. So of course in the first series we painted up the mask, and in this in the first episode we painted the mask up, and in this video of course we installed the lights. I think Christmas has taken a toll on me and I can't talk properly in this video. So there we are, thanks for watching, and over and out for now.